We're talking to, guess who? Senator Al Franken, who is kind enough to take some time out of his busy schedule to join us here on the Uptake. Welcome to our channel.
Well, it's a pleasure to be on the Uptake.
I
watched you for many hours.
Yeah, we heard about that. We ruined your vacation, didn't we?
You really did. It was such a bad idea. This is the first week of the trial. Stephanie Shriak, who's generally brilliant, suggested that Fran and I go on vacation. And we went to Key West. And the first day we spent trying to get online and couldn't. And then the rest of the vacation we watched the trial. So it was terrible. It was awful. It's the worst vacation I've ever had.
Well,
although the trial was going quite well.
I'm glad we were able to ruin your vacation for you.
Yeah, well, thank you. It wasn't your fault. It wasn't your fault. You did a wonderful service, and I think that, the Minnesotans got to see that what the process was throughout the whole thing, and, and kind of show that we weren't Florida.
We weren't Florida. It was transparent.
Yeah.
It was fair.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Senate right now, because everybody not everybody, but a lot of people we've had in here today talking about issues, everything keeps coming back to 60 votes and the filibuster, and it didn't used to be this way. It didn't used to be that 60 votes were required to do everything. To do a filibuster, you used to have somebody out on the floor and talk their head off. Now that's not the case. People are talking that things should change. Do you think things should change? Yes,
I think there will be changes when the new Senate comes in January, and there'll be tremendous movement, tremendous push for changes in these rules. I don't think we'll entirely get rid of the filibuster, but I think there'll be new rules to, for example, instead of making, I don't know what the number will be, whether it be 60, 55, 50, I don't know, or maybe we'll lose it completely, but let's say right now, I think it'd be fairer to say they've got to get to 40 rather than we've got to get to 60.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And they've done a lot of slow walking in this. We talk about obstructionism, and just a lot of it is to slow things down. And we'll have a cloture vote, and it'll be 60-40, and it'll be on a nominee for something. And then we have to wait 30 hours for a vote, and 30 hours later, after the cloture is invoked, there'll be a 98-0 vote. And so they have actually, they're actually voting to filibuster things they're for. It used to be that you'd say, well, you know what, I'm against this bill, but it deserves an up or down vote. I'm going to vote for cloture. That used to be kind of a standard thing, and then a rare exception would be like, this is so terrible that I'm going to vote to filibuster. This is about delaying things. So even like a lot of people don't realize how a cloture vote eats up time. You have to spend 30 hours after cloture is invoked in, quote, debate, although there isn't debate.
Right.
But nothing can happen really in a parliamentary way for that 30 hours. Well, if you could change the rules that one party can give up 15 hours of its debate, so at least speed things up. But that's, you can go either to refining things like that all the way to just let's get rid of the filibuster. But I'm not sure.
I mean, to get rid of it,
where I am on that.
To get rid of it, it sounds like you're saying we've got to replace some of the people who are there right now. Is that what I'm hearing correctly? Or is it going to be when people come back, they're going to have a different viewpoint?
Well, no, I think when people come back, I think there's one school of thought that you can change the rules with 50 votes. And with Biden there. And so it's that magic moment at the beginning of the session. And there's, I am not sure about the constitutional and parliamentarian aspects of all of this. The House, of course, is not a continuing body, and because they're elected every 2 years, because a third of us, usually, this year more, are up for election. It is considered a continuing body, so it depends on how And Biden may have to make a ruling here, whether you can change the rules at the beginning of this new session.
So it sounds like one way or another, something's going to speed something up here because we are in desperate need of a lot of things, and a lot of it's sitting at the Senate's door these days.
Absolutely. There's no question about that. We are now at a system where we need 60 votes for anything. We have a Republican Party that is very disciplined. McConnell is exercising that discipline, and it's really very hard to get anything done.
The other thing I've heard a lot of people here at Netroots talk about is Citizens United, corporate personhood. I've heard people talking that
I'll be talking about that tonight.
I hear people talking that we need a constitutional amendment. That's a long process. Is that what it's going to take, or can something else be done?
Well, one thing we have to address in the short run is this Disclose Act, which I have a piece of that bill came from our office, which is to say that no foreign-owned subsidiaries can put money into our races. But a lot of it is just about disclosure, saying that if a corporation gives to a 501c4 to put an ad out against somebody, that the donors have to be disclosed, and the major donor, if it's like the CEO of some corporation, has to go, I'm so-and-so, and I paid for this message. And it's funny because Mitch McConnell, when McCain-Feingold was being voted on, was saying, like, you look, all we need is disclosure. And now that the Supreme Court has ruled against McCain-Feingold, essentially, he's against disclosure. Who would believe that he would be either inconsistent or hypocritical? Mitch McConnell. Who would think that?
You would think the media would also be for disclosure, but I remember just recently David Brower, one of the reporters on MinnPost, wrote a story saying that KSTP, WCCO, and the other TV stations are not willing to reveal who is buying time on their stations, meaning the corporations that are going to buy time for political ads. Do you think that's something that should be addressed?
Well, I would rather, I think that's an issue. That might be a First Amendment issue of, since they're not required to,
right, they're not.
By law, that really should be up to Congress rather than up to the individual stations. So I can understand the stations taking that position.
Another, I know another.
I would rather that we vote for a bill saying that this has to be disclosed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know, and I know time is tight here, but another big issue that has been mentioned here over and over, and I know that this is one of your issues too, is net neutrality.
Yes,
we have
we'll be talking about that tonight as well.
NBC Universal and Comcast becoming this huge.
I'll be talking about that tonight as well.
Yes, this is the preview, folks.
Did you know this?
I did not get I did not get the memo. Okay.
Wow.
It was not leaked to me. This.
Wow, my hair is standing on end. You really have been hitting this on the nose.
But we pay attention to what's going on.
Yeah,
you know, and these are the issues everyone's talking about.
Well, obviously, I'm one of the leaders against the NBC Comcast merger. It's funny. I had Jeff Zucker, who is head of NBC, whom I know, and whose wife worked at Saturday Night Live, and who I really adore. And he came into me and he said, when a meeting in the office, he said, this would be good for NBC. And I said, yeah, I know that, Jeff. I have lots of great memories of working at NBC, and God bless NBC. But this is about concentration. This is about Comcast is the largest cable provider. It's the largest line-in internet service provider. This is really a problem when the providers of the programming and the people who own the pipes are the same people. That's a real problem. And my worry about this, and it ties into net neutrality in a big way, because if Comcast is able to do this, why isn't Verizon going to buy CBS and Viacom, which is Paramount?
Right.
Or why aren't they going to look for ABC and Disney? And why isn't AT&T going to do that, and Verizon, and before you know it, there'll be 4 entities, corporate entities owning everything, and with Citizens United buying, for putting enough pressure on politicians that net neutrality is gone, and it'll take you 5 times longer to get the uptake as it would to get Fox
Well, Senator,
on the internet, and that's it's huge. That is huge, and we're here at Netroots, and maybe you anticipated this because I'm at Netroots, and this is kind of a subject that should be of tremendous interest to everybody here. But I applaud you for reading my mind.
well, Senator Franken, I'm sure those Comcast.
Only my wife can do that.
Comcast and all those other companies are worried about the uptake, horning in on what they do, and I'm sure that's why.
I did when I had Brian Roberts, the CEO of Comcast. He mentioned the threat from the uptake,
well,
and he was very, very nervous.
Well, I know you've got to run, but I really appreciate you taking the time here. We're looking forward to seeing your address here this evening in front of Netroots Nation.
Just have someone else start your car.
Okay. Can somebody get a mirror? I need a mirror under the car. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
All right.